Hey, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all of the other episodes, check the link in the description, stop by raprankings.com, or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. And please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting to help us grow the channel and continue our journey as hip-hop's first and premier extreme podcast. Folks, so, sure you were expecting to come back from the little record scratch break and you were going to hear, you know, Mel do an intro for the guests and everything as usual, or Moulz do an intro for the guest thing as usual, but we're having some technical difficulties. Apparently Zencastr is the
platform we record on.
Yeah, Zencastr being the platform we record on, it's racist. It doesn't like you if you have an OS as an operating system below a certain number, and our guest has an operating system below a certain number.
Well, I'm just curious what that has to do with race exactly.
Everything has everything to do with race. Look, numerology, bro. I can't do it right now on the air. I don't want to expose us. But yeah, listen, you know, and this guest, he keeps it at that OS, that low OS, for a good reason. He needs it to run Pro Tools a certain way, you know. So we respect it. Apparently Zencastr doesn't.
So this is an intentional choice.
This is an intentional choice. He keeps
right,
it
like
at
me
that OS.
Using the 2010 iTunes, because anything else past that is uncivilized.
Right. Same concept. But what we're gonna do here, it's gonna be kind of messy. I'm gonna call this man.
Okay.
I'm gonna call this man on the phone. And I'm gonna put him on speakerphone. So here we go.
All right. Well, you want to introduce him?
When he gets here.
Okay. He's not here.
Well, he's coming. Here we go.
He's coming. Okay.
Is this hello?
Microphone check 1 2. What is this?
This is all right. We got him. He's here. He's in, folks. This is listen. Let me intro you real quick. So we thugging it out, but this is a man I've known for many years. A good friend of mine, close personal friend. He goes by many names. Right now on Skype, he's Terry Tate for some reason. He's also gone as Batman. He's known to the world probably as Hasim. He's a singer, rapper, musician, artist. You know, he's an artist, folks. And, you know, he plays games from time to time. He's a funny person. You know, you can catch him in a lot of different places, as I'm sure he'll fill you in on. But ladies and gentlemen, this is my good friend, Paul Crenshaw, y'all. He's live on the check-in. Paul, you can't hear it, but I'm about to play the applause soundbite. So, you know, here you go.
I appreciate it.
All right, so
Hey,
we're here.
Paul, hey, Mel, tell Paul, hey, how's it going, man?
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna have to do because you can't hear Moulz here. Moulz says, "Tell Paul, hey, how's it going, man?"
I mean, you know, it's real copacetic right now.
He said it's real copacetic right now. Well,
It sounds like Young Hove is on the line. Is this Paul or is this Young Hove?
Moulz says it sounds like Young Hove is on the line. Is this Paul or is this Young Hove?
Me. I am who you think I am.
My God. Well, welcome to the show, Mel. We're doing the Prelude, produced by B Money. But I need you to explain to Paul, you know, and I know he's no stranger to the show, but, you know, for those listening at home, for the benefit of the listeners, if you could just explain the rating system before we jump in and give our ratings.
Okay, so Moulz is saying he knows you're no stranger to the show, but we do this. It's you know, it's customary. You know, I'm going to explain the rating system to you before we get into discussing this track one, the prelude, however you want to pronounce it. And from there, you know, you can decide if you want to go first with your rating or pass it to us, and then we can get into a discussion of the song and, you know, the album, you know, at large, and, you know, it's how it goes. So real quick, here's the rating system. So it's a 10-point scale. Each number corresponds to something. 10 means it's a perfect song to you, one of your favorite songs of all time. 9 means you love it. 8 means you like it a lot. 7 means you like it. 6 means it's alright. You don't dislike it, but you can't say that you like it. 5 means you feel practically nothing about it. 4 means it's not the worst thing you've ever heard, but you dislike it. 3 means you dislike it. 2 means you hate it. And 1 means you absolutely can't stand it. One of the worst things you've ever heard. And I'll say in addition to that, you can throw a plus or minus onto the number. It doesn't change the number, but it's like saying a strong or a light version of that number. So,
all right.
All right. So that's it. So from here, if you got a rating in mind, if you want to go first, you can go first, or you can pass it to us, and we'll set the tone however you want to do it.
I mean, I'll start with my rating of it. Prelude for me, just I'd probably have to say solid 8.
Damn.
Solid 8.
He says a solid 8, folks. Solid 8. I mean, you can hear him. Moulz can't hear him. Moulz can't hear him.
Ding him.
I gotta press the ding sound bite. He says Moulz said to ding him. I almost forgot. All right, I just dinged you. Pause if necessary. So Paul has a 8 here.
Don't ding me.
You got an 8 on the board.
Yeah, so there's an 8 here from our guest. I won't waste no time. For me, it's actually an 8 too. It's an 8 minus, but that's still an 8.
Well, folks, to quote Cameron, really, who am I to fuck tradition up? Ding me, baby, 7, flat 7 from me.
How can you? So Paul Moulz says, to quote Cameron, who am I to fuck tradition up? But then he says 7, flat 7. I thought he was gonna say an 8. But
well, I'm saying,
also too.
I'm saying the tradition of enjoying the song.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, but we in the general ballpark.
Yeah, we all like it.
We're in the ballpark.
That,
you guys are like first mezzanine. I'm second mezzanine. It's no big deal. I can see, home plate, third base. That's all I really need.
Yeah. So, I guess from here, Paul. So how do you arrive at this 8? You want to tell us a bit about your history with, because I wanted to bring you on specifically because I know that you're a bit of a Kingdom Come apologist, if you will. Like you,
yes,
yeah. So I figured there would be no better guest than you for this album. That is, I guess you could say, misunderstood at best.
Very misunderstood as far as whole albums go. To be honest with you. The history I have with it is very interesting. So I won't say this wasn't my introduction, but like I was a lot younger when I was like discovering a lot more diverse rap. Aside from like regular radio stuff. So like it wasn't like I wasn't a whole fan. Like I knew that I enjoyed Hove more than I enjoyed a good majority of other artists at that point in time. But it was never like an album that I was old enough to really like understand and like gravitate towards until around like Black Album, Kingdom Come, that.
We have similar stories in that regard then, because that's like pretty much spot on what I would describe my relationship with Jay-Z as, like around that time, Black Album, Kingdom Come, where I started really tapping in.
Mm-hmm. And like, I want to say from there, that was when I really was like, okay, so no, this is the guy. This the one. Okay, cool. I'm like, I've tuned out everybody else. I'm zeroed in on him. Okay. And I actually got to a point where, how he was out there rocking the dress shirts with the jeans and the sneakers. Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
That was me.
This man was ready to be grown and sexy.
With the Nikes on the bottom, with the blue long sleeve dress shirt with the shirt up under it. looking goofy.
Yeah, Moulz said this man was ready to be grown and sexy already.
I looked like I was a bouncer at the 40-40 club, man. It was not the greatest fashion wise, but Hov was my guy, and you know he made all that stuff sound so appealing that I, as I want to say that was like 8th to 9th grade ish.
Yeah, probably because it was 9th grade for me, so we're similar ages.
So 8th grade then. That was it was the look for me. I was like, okay, cool, I'm solid. Like this it. Y'all talking about Hov? Yeah, me too. All right. And I really think adopting that was like, all right, cool. So from there, hearing Kingdom Come for the first time, when I heard the prelude, I was like, you know, because the intro is so like jarring.
It is, and I'll say a quick interjection. He brought back an old friend for that intro because in his early albums, this dude that you hear on the intro is named Pain in the Ass. You know, he's on Reasonable Doubt. He's on Volume 1, Volume 2, I believe Volume 3, and then he kind of disappears, and then he brings him back for this Kingdom Come. Yeah, and one of my favorite intros too.
Man, every time I get in the car and I turn on Kingdom Come, I gotta play it from top to bottom. I can't like skip. I gotta play it from top to bottom, even though there are songs on there that I would prefer to skip. But it's the whole story of it.
Okay.
But I think as far as like the prelude goes, I would liken it to. I know we all wrestling fans here.
Yeah.
Shout out to the network 999.
999.
So I would liken it to the Undertaker doc, how he would always talk about. He would look at his last match and he would be like, "Man, I was a step slow," or "Man, like I could have done that so much better." Man, I kind of leaning into the love for it, the wanting to be a perfectionist, and kind of like being like, "Nah, that's not over for me. Like I can't go out on that." But like, I know everyone saw Black Album as like the one to go out on if you're gonna go out on something, right?
Right.
Because Black Album was ridiculous.
Nope. See, I agree, but Moulz was like, nope, he's not a Black Album fan. But...
Huh. Interesting. All right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But regardless, like widely regarded as one of the ones he should have gone out on if he was going to go out. Especially for people, for him to come back with Kingdom Come, it was really jarring to a lot of people because they're like, you just left on this. What are you doing? I
would say it's almost like when Jordan came back with the Wizards too. It's like you had a picturesque storybook ending,
bro.
And then
like, it was there. It was there.
Right.
You had the ability to just go out on that and lay on your sword, and that's it. But whether or not people like his newer music, I feel like Kingdom Come was the transition into the Jay-Z that we have now.
Oh, definitely.
And I think you really saw it kind of open up on the beginning, on the prelude. Like, you get into a little bit more of the... Like, granted, he's still talking his stuff, but you get into a little bit more of, like, the introspective Jay raps and kind of forward-facing, let me look back on a lot of the mistakes that I made and different things like that. But then he took time in the middle of it to be like, nah, but I'm still that. I'm like, okay, well, that's fair. So I understand people's gripes with the album. I'm not going to say that I'm a complete apologist for the album, but I understand their gripes with it. However, if they look at it as opposed to being a follow-up to the Black Album, look at it as an opening of an entirely new chapter.
Right.
Like everything from the beginning to Black Album is part one, and then Kingdom Come on to now is part 2, I would say.
And it's funny you say that, because I think that's valid, and it's not far off from the way that I guess we look at it on the show. I guess, although we would say, Moulz mentions, I think you mentioned in part 1 that it's almost like this is the start of non-canon Jay. I mean, that's a harsh way to look at it, but I understand that. But you could also look at it like you said, it's almost like a rebirth or a reimagining the next chapter, a different
But to
book.
that end, Mel, here's where I get hung
I
up on
understand
that.
what Moulz means by that, though. It's like
This is like where I get hung up on.
A lot of fan service in there, but you can pick apart the parts that you enjoy.
Yeah. Now, what were you saying, Moulz?
I was saying I get hung up on the notion that this is the beginning of a new chapter, because I agree in the sense of this album, but then, on the next album, and to Paul's point about The Undertaker. So The Undertaker has 2 reasons why he'll do another match. One of them is because he didn't like the last match. And the other one is because he liked the last match, and he thinks that now he can perform at the level he was always able to perform at. So with this album, I feel like Jay himself has said, I was rusty. So then he comes back with American Gangster, and kind of bringing us full circle back to, the themes of something like A Reasonable Doubt. And within that, it's like, is this the beginning of a new chapter? Because you're going back to the beginning of the original book.
So Moulz was saying, basically his hang up with looking at it as a new chapter, and to tie it into what you were saying about The Undertaker, it's like he said The Undertaker will decide to come back for 2 reasons. One, it's either because he felt like his last outing was like a little shaky, or because he liked his last outing and now he feels like he can right, exactly. So he says, in terms of Jay-Z, it's like with Kingdom Come, like eventually we come to find out he's like, oh, I think, I was a little shaky, I was knocking the rust off. So then he comes back with American Gangster, which is almost like a return to form. And then at that point, he's like, oh, I'm back. Like, I can do it again, So he follows it up.
And that's how you get Blueprint 3.
Right.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And he was saying, too, it's almost like he went back to Reasonable Doubt with, like, American Gangster. So it's almost like trying to go back to that first book to try to get some momentum to build on the second book,
it's like trying to recapture the magic.
Yeah, and I mean, spoiler, we were talking about this off air, Moulz and I, we both like American Gangster, more than Kingdom Come, but
much more.
It's I mean, I can relate because I get it. It's like, I mean, he's told us countless times, can't leave rap alone, the game needs me. He looks at it like that sometimes, but I think what it really comes down to is an appreciation for the art. I mean, I think the ego side of Jay doesn't want to let go of like the position and being like the main guy and rapping, but also I think he likes it. He just genuinely enjoys making music. And when you have that, it's hard to quit. I mean, to relate that to wrestlers, like when you just have a love for your craft, even if you get it right, even if you get it wrong, like you're just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
I would actually like, looking back at The Last Dance, the way that Jordan would, when he was like going through baseball after he retired the first time, and he looked like he would be playing baseball, but he would still come over to the Bulls practice.
Right.
Because, he was on the Sox.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like in that instance, you can kind of look at it like that, where it's like he really loves this. Like, yes, I retired, but I love this. I want to competitively play again because I feel like I'm still like at my productive years. I still have the ability to craft an album in a way that I've crafted albums in the past. And I feel like I can expand upon that and really dig into different things that I haven't done in my younger years, in the earlier part of the career. So how it's like Jordan earlier, he was relying a lot on the athleticism and
he was flying through the lane, dunking on people, acrobatic layups. Mm-hmm. But then it turned into more of a measured finesse sort of game, using the small minutia of the game to build an advantage. And I mean, Jay, I would say, and when it comes to Jay, it's almost like it's fun, like speaking in rap, like technical rap terms. Of course, when he comes in the game, like even before Reasonable Doubt, he has that as a guest we had previously referred to as the Iggity flow, the Daz FX, like jiggity jiggity, like just rapping off fast. And then he figures out like making records, like maybe I should slow it down and tell a story so that more people can catch me. And he figures that out on Reasonable Doubt, you know, but he's like a more technically, you know, agile MC earlier in his career. Then he figures out, you know, sort of the art of record making and starts making pop hits, and he can do this and he can do that. And then like, you know, he retires and he comes back and he's not that same type of player, but you have flashes of what makes JJ, you know, on this album. And I think on this song specifically, is this my favorite song of the album? No, it's tied. I think I give this an 8. I give Lost One an 8. But for the Prelude, I think there's still those hints of, even though he's not like, you know, flowing you to death, well, like
he's doing the whisper flow, like, but it suits
Moulz is saying he's doing the whisper flow, you know, like he has that new like thing that he picked up. Some people say from Young Chris, like the, you know, it's that you know, niggas beats is banging, nigga, your hooks did it, you know, like
your lyrics didn't, you get
you know, so and like that can work. Sometimes it seems like he sounds like he's pained and like hobbling, and but like it has its own flavor that I think works sometimes. But specifically this record, you know, the Prelude, I'll just say, just start with the music. Musically, I've always been a big fan of the beat ever since I first heard it in the Lost One video. You know, the strings, the horns, it's the elegance, if you will. I would say it's sufficiently kingly for an album like Kingdom Come. I think it's good intro music. It's not too overpowering. It's kind of sultry. It's intriguing to me. What were you saying, Moulz?
I sent you a link earlier. Okay. Axe Puzzles.
Hold on. He says he sent me a link earlier. What do you need me to do with this?
Play it.
You want me to play it? Okay.
Just, hold on. Like 30 seconds.
Let me see. Well, Moulz, you're lucky that I can play YouTube things while also on the phone. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna play this thing here.
Imagine the places we'll go.
That's an ad. All right.
Together. Expedia.
The more you keep your mind, the stronger the light itself.
Quasimodo, you breathe in your area, putting it on your sick with it, like malaria. We rolling like spy versus spy.
Okay.
Right,
so Paul, what he had me play before you continue, it's a Quasimodo song called Axe Puzzles, which clearly has the same sample as the Prelude or Prelude. You probably shouldn't have shown me this, because now that I know that this is out there, I hope there's an instrumental.
It came out. There is. The whole album has instrumentals. There's a 6-year gap between the release of Kingdom Come and the release of The Unseen by Quasimodo, who's Madlib's alter ego. So Madlib did that beat. I had heard The Unseen a year prior to this album coming out. So I was familiar with the sample. But I was pleased to hear that, you know, like, no disrespect. Like, I enjoy the Quasimodo albums, both of them. And yes, it's Madlib basically rapping with like a helium voice. I wanted to see what Jay could do on something like this. Like, I'll always prefer like a traditional MC over like a cartoon alien. So I was pleased. I think I enjoy it as much as I enjoy Axe Puzzles, but for different reasons.
Okay, so yeah, basically Paul is Quasimodo. It's you know, Madlib's rapping alias, and he's rapping in like sort of like a how, as Moulz described, a helium voice, very kind of, I guess, what brings to mind Childish Gambino and his Sick Boy era, or maybe Kendrick's like alien voice.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, but same sample, almost like same drum pattern. Yeah, so and you said, Moulz, that was made 6 years prior to this?
Yes, 6 years prior. But, you know, I do like Quasimodo, but I'm interested to see if the sample gets reflipped by, you know, like a top level MC, what they could do with the same music. So I was interested, actually. But
Right, so
I don't give B Money that much credit to the beat, because it's like, this is something that's been around and in underground rap circles was already being celebrated.
yeah, so Moulz is saying he was interested to hear sort of a, you know, quote unquote real MC, or someone who's, you know, more adept, more conventional, if you will, over something like this. And, you know, this guy, of course, the producer on the Prelude being B Money, Moulz said he doesn't give him too much credit for it because, you know, this flip had been around in, you know, hip hop circles for 6 years at that point, but it's still, you know, a good beat. You know, it's essentially the same thing, but like, yeah, it works, you know? So, I think if anything, what I've always liked about this intro is it kind of, at least the feeling I get is it's like, all right, I got to find out what the rest of this album is going to bring, because this music, the intrigue's there, which is funny because like it makes the transition into track two's music a little jarring to me, because, you know, Oh My God is like boisterous and loud and, you know, compared to this.
Do you like that transition, Mel, or is it bad jarring?
Okay, Moulz asks, is that bad jarring? Do I like that transition? You know, I wouldn't say bad, but I also wouldn't say that it, like, I wouldn't call it a good transition. I also wouldn't say it's a bad one. It's just kind of like, it goes from song to song, but it's not so jarring that I'm like, oh, what's happening here? But it's almost like, it doesn't capitalize on the setup of the Prelude.
Right, or the mood that the music puts you in.
Yeah, or
throws
the mood
you
that
in
the
a
music puts me in.
kind of throws you in a different space immediately after.
Yeah. So, you know, so now Jay, you know, as we were discussing briefly, you know, delivery wise, I think we fully transition into the pained, almost like crying delivery, the whispered, grimaced flow. And it's like, yeah, it's different. It's less technical than, you know, the way he delivered lines, you know, on his early albums. You know, it's like, for example, you know, before Steve Jobs made the iPod, it's like that slowed down, you know, almost to a degree in some lines, not that the iPod line, but it's like, it's almost like, I'm so clever. Did you catch that? Let me call way too much attention to my wordplay by emphasizing it, by saying it's slower so you can catch it. But, you know, and he wasn't doing as much of that before. But, you know, sometimes it works. Sometimes it's kind of like, man, like, did he forget how to rap? But it's like, on this song, I think this is an example of it paying off. It works. You know, he pulls off the new delivery, you know, so.
No, the only thing I don't like, you know, because we'll get into this more as we continue this review, but one of those, like, J pop culture references, back when Steve Jobs made the iPod.
Yeah, okay, yeah. He Moulz was saying he doesn't really dig the new Jay, or rather old Jay if we're talking age. You know, the pop culture references, like, you know, the Steve Jobs made the iPod, and I mean it happens later on in that, like the very next song when he's talking about Grand Theft Auto PSP, like, and we'll discuss it. It's like, you know, you get the sense that it's Jay-Z who is older. You know, he's slowing down a bit, and he's kind of hearing pop culture. It's passing him by. Whereas before, you know, if he wasn't right in the midst of it, he was it. You know, and it's not that he stopped being pop culture. I mean, Kingdom Come was an event album. You know, it's like, oh, Jay-Z's back. He's still very much pop culture, but he's at an age now where, you know, he has things to tend to. You know, he's coming off this Def Jam CEO. He's a busy man. You know, so he can't really be as tapped in as he would have been. So it's like, you know, you kind of cut him some slack to a degree. But I would say this intro, what I really appreciate, you know, he starts out, you know, the first set of bars, you know, that sort of You know, I would write it if y'all could get it. Being intricate will get you wood, critic. On the internet, they like you should spit it. I'm like, you should buy it. Nigga, that's good business.
Good business.
You know? And I love that part. I'm a big fan of that part because, like, I appreciate when Jay acknowledges the sort of hypocrisy of, you know, rap in the music industry to a large degree. We know what sells. You know, sex sells, spectacle sells.
Now,
you know?
06, like, music's not selling anymore. It's being
you're saying in 06 too. Like, think about the era. You know, music's not selling anymore. So there's also that piracy aspect too. It's like you should buy it. You know, not only like buy things with content that you say is, you know, more substantial, but also just literally buy the records.
Buy it,
you know, because you know. So you know, and he continues talking about, you know, he was in the office, he was doing the CEO thing, but he's back, you know, you know, forget this rap shit. I need a new hustle, a little bit of everything, the new improved Russell. I say that reluctantly because I do struggle, you know, and as you can see, I can't leave. So I do love you, you know, speaking of rap, you know, so it's almost like that, you know, he's in that transition phase. It's like he acknowledges he left because he wanted more. He felt like he could do more, you know, in the CEO position or just the mogul position, but he's back because he loves rap, you know? And he, you know, he spends the rest of the verse, you know, talking, you know, as he does well, you know, about how he was rich and distinguished even before rap, you know, like, you know, doing all that before he got in the game, you know? And I'll say this, kind of how he ends the verse. And I'm glad you're on the line here, Paul, because I'm going to need as much perspective, you know, so you and Moulz hopefully can explain this to me. So the set of bars I want to call attention to. It's like, you know, guess who's back? Since this is a new era, got a fresh new hat. 10-year veteran. I've been set. I've been through with this bullshit game, but I never can. I used to think rapping at 38 was ill, but last year alone, I grossed 38 mil. I know I ain't quite 38, but still, the flow's so special. Got a 38 feel. The real is back. Now, here's the thing. As I was saying earlier, this is kind of what I mean. It's a decent enough line. It's fine. It's not a bad line, but it's presented with this new flow that he has. It's almost presented like it's the pinnacle of lyricism. It's like, you know, the 38 special. It's like, okay, we get it. But he's like, you know, the flow's so special, got a 38 feel. It's like it's drawn. It's like, okay. But what I want to call attention to, I'm confused. So let me just lay all this out, and then you let me know what you think.
All right.
What's odd to me about the 38 sequence is that earlier he admits he needed a new hustle because he was, I guess, you know, jaded or exhausted by the music industry, and he felt like he can make more money doing something else, which I completely understand, obviously, you know, doing the show. But the way it sounds here, it seems like he's still rapping at 38 because he made 38 mil from it. Because he's like, you know, I used to think rapping at 38 was ill, but last year alone, I grossed 38 mil. Saying, but as if I'll keep doing it because I made 38 mil. But as he suggested earlier, that money would have come from being a mogul and other hustles. So I'm not sure what he's saying. Literally, I'm confused. Are you rapping at 38 because it's lucrative to rap? I guess it depends on your interpretation of the word ill. Now, I always assume he meant ill like disgusting or undesirable or loathsome, like who would want to still be rapping at 38. But he could mean ill in the classic hip-hop sense of cool, which means he used to think still rapping at 38 would be cool, which changes the context of the following line to mean I keep rapping at 38 because it's cool, but I make too much money.
That's what he means.
Outside of this to do that.
I think it's the latter.
Okay, Paul, and you and Moulz both said it at the same time. It's the latter.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think...
For a long time, though, I actually thought it was the former.
Okay.
But I was like, nah, that doesn't make sense because he was literally just a mogul over a rap label, making them, like, utilizing the artist on their roster to make him that money.
Right.
He got it.
Like, so I understand the initial, because like if you're just hearing it offhand for the first time, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Well, why would you like kind of But I don't think he would contradict himself on that level. I think that was very like intentional. And low key, to be honest, he could have like initially thought it was ill to rap at 38. Mm-hmm. And also been like, no, I think it's actually pretty cool to do so.
Right.
Let me like continue to do it. And also, like, with age, but not being at that age necessarily, being like a little bit older, like around Black Album era, being like, nah, that's why I'm leaving. I don't want to rap at 38 kind of thing. So like he could have felt both. And like left
which would make the line make sense because, you know,
don't even ask me how.
As Moulz would say, referencing his line on Light Up on Thank Me Later, don't even ask me how. You know, the entendres.
Triple entendre, don't even ask me how.
You know, it's Jay, and that's valid because Jay has been known to play with that. And, you know, that holding that, you know, simultaneous idea in one bar. So, okay, I just had to run it by somebody else because it.
No, you good. Because, like, low key, whenever I hear it and I rap along to it, I say it both ways each different time that I hear it. Like, every other listen, I will say it the other way.
Right. Okay.
I get what you're saying, Mel, because of the emphasis on the line.
And
but
also,
what were you saying, Moulz?
Talking about, my fault.
No, it's all good. We're on. I was actually going to tell Mel off the air, like, yo, you're going to have to cut out the points where I say something, but, like, you know, I can't be heard on the. I forget sometimes I can't be heard on the other end of the line. So it's all good. But what I was saying was that, like, you know, I'm thinking about it from the perspective of like a young, hungry MC. Is like, I'll be rapping forever. Like 38, like, man, like if I can make it to 38, I'll still be rapping 48, 58, 68. Right. You know, I'll keep going. But this year alone, I grossed 38 mil from not rapping. So it's like, I don't know. Like, you know, and I know I'm not quite 38, but still, like it's hard to rap. It's almost like it's that push and pull between, like, do I go back to the game or do I stay in the corporate world, or maybe do a little of both? I mean, like I said, this is non-canon corporate sponsorship era.
Right. Okay, good point. Yeah, Moulz was just, you know, kind of agreeing with you there. It's like, yeah, it's the tug and pull of, like, you know, yeah, I used to think rapping at 38 would be dope. Like, if I can rap forever, I'll do it. You know, like, I love doing this. But, like, yeah, just this year alone, I grossed 38 million from not rapping. So it's like, you know, I got to reconsider. But it's like, yeah, it's both. You know, it's like, you know, so okay.
Yeah, he plays with the ambiguity of it.
Okay. Yeah, I just, you know, I had to make sure. But yeah, it's pretty much, yeah, this is an 8 for me. I like it a lot. You know, it's it's I hate to feel this way, but it's almost like a Trojan horse, this song, because I feel like, okay, yo, Jay's back. This is gonna be Jay-Z.
It's a better intro than Black Album for me.
And Moulz says here it's a better intro than the Black Album to him. Which, I mean, I actually agree, because I gave December. Well, if we're talking like musical intro, like
intro,
or do you mean the intro?
Track 1.
Oh, okay, well, track 1. Well, yeah, it's a better intro than that. But,
yeah, for sure.
But I would say even just like music, like December 4th,
December 2
compared to this, I gave December 4th a 7+, and this is an A- for me. So it's like, yeah, this is actually one of my, you know, I like this Jay-Z song. Like, I put it on a playlist.
Strong intros, and this one is definitely in the conversation. It's good. I think it was a step up from the last one. I like it better, I think, than A Dream, also from the Blueprint 2.
Right. You know, so sort of the irony, at least for Moulz and I, is like, this is one of his better intros, but it's on one of his lesser albums, you know, to us. So it's like, that's it can be like that sometimes.
I mean, it's a give and take. After a certain amount of time and you holding yourself to a certain standard by creating bodies of work that are just genuinely leaps and bounds above a good majority of your contemporaries, you're gonna get to a point where, like, there are gonna be standouts, there are gonna be things that are gonna hit, and then eventually it's gonna be like, yeah, but overall, like, it wasn't this,
right?
It wasn't that. And
it's inevitable.
Like, that's why when you get to Jay on Blueprint 3, he's like, "This is on my old shit, on my old album," and yeah, I don't mean to skip ahead in the discussion.
Oh no, you good, you good.
You know,
you just. You know, having a conversation. I mean, yeah, Blueprint 3. I mean, it's, you know, spoiler. It's not my favorite Jay album. But yeah, at that point, he does start making, you know, on my old shit by my old albums. To which you gotta respect it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, sure. Like
At that point, he's like, I've given you enough of everything that you have asked for
right.
to this point. I want to do different things.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah. I don't know. I really think.
Now Moulz says it's almost like an admission that you know you'll never reach those heights again.
Yes and no. I think it's an understanding of, yes, I may not ever reach that height again, but also
I'm in a different place in life
in a way, and I may get to it in a different demeanor.
Right.
Like I getting to it in a different way than you would accept.
Right.
Because a lot of people would hear it and be like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty dope," and like it'd be on par with everything that they want to hear, but because it's not exactly what they want to hear, they're like, "Nah, man, this was better." Like, you know, it's the age-old trope. You can't please hip-hop fans.
So one of the hardest what's the word I want to use, contingents of music fandom to no, not one of the hardest knock life Moulz. This
wow.
Hold on, let me hit him with the thing. He knows what's coming. He's about to get that rim shot. All right, I just played it. Yeah, it's just I agree. It's, you know, hip hop is, you hear a lot of things. You could hear it's fickle. It's a young man's game, or young person's game, rather. You know, it's a lot of things. But I mean,
Masta Ace is older than Jay, and on this, Masta Ace is like in his 50s, and he's still putting out good albums.
And Moulz is like, well, you know, Masta Ace is in his 50s, and he's still putting out good albums. Well, I mean, you know who you're talking to. I think 444 is good. So
Jay's not in his 50s yet.
You know, Paul likes it.
Is Jay 50? Jay's
50 now. I think he just turned 50.
His birthday's December 4th. How did he just turn 50?
Wait, well, hold on.
If I'm not mistaken,
I'm pretty sure if he's not 50, he's 49. Let me see. Jay-Z. Google it real quick.
Did he already turn 50?
Yeah, no, he already turned. He was born in 1969. He turned 50 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know. Yeah, but that's you know, that's pretty much how I feel about the you know, it's a good intro to
Agreed.
A great intro to me to you know, a shaky album.
To a shit show.
It's like, you know, it's, what'd you say, Moulz?
To a shit show, but
he says it's a great intro to a shit show. I mean,
all right.
Now here's the thing. I know, and Paul, you like Kingdom Come. I'm gonna tell you, I like songs on here. I like.
How are you gonna spoil this How are you spoiling this for the whole audience?
I'll censor it. He says, "How you gonna spoil this for the whole audience?" I'm a censor.
Man's giving all his ratings up front. Why don't you tell Paul every rating to every song so far?
Well, considering I won't be around for all of it,
right.
I'll give my amount of tracks that I enjoy.
Yeah,
I want to say. I think the only three that I really had issue with were the last three.
So that would be Beach Chair, Minority Report, and Dig a
Hole.
Okay.
Here you go.
And like Dig a Hole to an extent, but
okay. I like.
This man's spoiling the whole show. You know. In the first
I'm not spoiling the whole show.
That's fair. All right. Enough about that. But back to the Prelude. I really do think, as far as intros go, this is probably one of my favorite. Just of a lot of hip hop. I won't say all, because there's a lot that encompasses, but a very good majority of it. Now, you know, take that as you will with a grain of salt, but I just think coming off of what he came off of in Black Album, coming from the executive world to back to, hey, I'm rapping, this is my day-to-day now, into that intro is like, all right, so you understand. It's kind of like a quiet moment before you go and take the court to get back to your career because you like took some time away. I hate to bring it back to Jordan, but it's literally like when he retired, came back, and that first game back, he had to like sit in the team plane before getting off the plane to go into the stadium. Like, he legitimately had to take his time, sit there and be like, dang, this is my first game back since, his dad had passed. And Jay kind of like sat there, had his moment to himself. Like, it seemed like he was talking to other people, but he also seemed like he was looking in the mirror while he was talking this to like get himself ready, like get himself back into that mode almost.
Right.
To me, it just seemed like the setting seemed very. I'm sitting in a dark room. It's one light on my face. I'm in the couch. I'm in the like big chair with the arms that kind of forced me to put my elbows on top, and I'm almost at my chin with where the placement is. Like I'm just looking.
Look, it's that audio
forward,
cinema, Mel.
and like I'm just chin strokes.
Right.
Pause.
You got a drop for that.
Hold on, I'm gonna hit a drop for that. You'll hear it in post. I hear it. Pause. Okay, you can continue.
But yeah, like I don't know. That's how I personally feel about how he carried himself on that intro, and how the intro kind of surmised his feelings about returning.
Right. Yeah, I talk a lot about execution on this show. I think for what it's supposed to be, the comeback, it's well executed. As far as like, all right, if the big idea is he's back, what does he have to say? It's an arresting intro for me. Like it's like, all right, I'm down. I'm ready for the ride. Like, and that's what you want to do on a comeback album or in any album. Start out with something that's gonna make people want to stick around. So
you know what drop we need, Mel?
What's that, Moulz? What drop?
We need that drop from Star Wars. It's a trap.
Moulz said we need that drop from Star Wars. Admiral Akbar. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, sure, the album doesn't deliver on that promise. Exactly, but I've this album may not be my favorite.
This guy's spoiling all the episodes.
I'm not spoiling the episodes. I'm not spoiling. We've talked about our disdain for the Blueprint 3 probably the whole season.
Why don't you give us every rating for your songs on the Carter 3 so we can have that on hand for when we do that?
No, I will not give the people my ratings for every song on the Carter 3. I will not be doing that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it's pretty much the record.
We got some plug skis. What do you think?
Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna pass it off to you, Paul. Appreciate you coming by the show. I think we made it work. You sound clear to me. I mean, of course, I'm listening right here in my room, but I got you right up to the mic. Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit myself out for supposedly spoiling the rest of the episodes. But Paul, the floor is yours. Anything you want to plug? Let them know where to find you. All that stuff. Take your time.
Yeah, man. You can find me on Twitter at JIBRIHASHIM.
Jabri Hassim, folks.
That's where I do most of my talking. I don't really talk a lot, but sometimes I gotta talk. That's where I do that at. I'm also on Instagram. I don't really take too many pictures, but they on there. It's the same at name. I don't really like to differentiate between the two. Because I feel like when you get to that point where you're trying to differentiate, you got too many names on too many different platforms. They can't really find you that easily. So
this is true.
That's where I'm at on there. If you want Twitch, I'm also on there. I'm the same name.
Twitch, huh?
Yeah, Twitch. I be playing games, occasionally, and then I don't be playing no games.
All right.
And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with it. You know, if you wanna follow me on there, feel free. I ain't dropping no albums. I just did one with Jay Electronica. I can't do no more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got, man. Go ahead and download the Tidal app. If you're listening to this on anywhere but Tidal, I'm gonna send Tata to your door.
We do great business on Spotify. I don't want to necessarily burn that bridge.
Shout out to Rap Rankings. I got my hoodie.
Thank you. Yeah, you did. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
You know, I got my hoodie. It's an extra large. You know, I gotta make sure my shoulders fit. You know, you put your hoodie on, you get you some Scooby Doo's. You gotta get you some Scooby Doo's.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's I think that was Paul. Might have been Jay. We never know. Yeah, listen, it's Paul Hassim. You know, you find him all those places. You know, it'll be spelled out in the description of this episode and everything. You know, and I must say, folks, he's one of my artist friends in my team. Make some good music, some good R&B music,
some bedroom jams. Okay,
some bedroom jams.
If you're trying to
Moulz,
get
some bedroom
on
jams
with your lady or with your gentleman, or with your lady
or your gentleman or whoever.
Who just go ahead, throw that on,
and, you know, ladies, babies, and gents.
You know,
put on that crush, and you gotta crush it. You gotta crush it like freaking the Hulk.
Yeah, listen, it's great stuff. You know, he's on all the platforms. You know, look, like I said, me and this dude go way back. He's good for it. Listen, Mel approved. You know, y'all know how I be rating stuff.
That louse, young 88, that bozo, that louse tried to get me to beef with this man. I have no beef with this man.
So Moulz says that louse, that bozo 88 tried to get him to beef with you, Paul. I remember we talked on Xbox about this. I told you I was gonna run this by him. To let him. Oh, he can't hear you. Okay, so Moulz, just say whatever you need to say to Paul. He'll hear it in post.
I mean, I've never had any beef with you whatsoever. Daniel was like, "Yo, this dude like switched up on me," and I didn't know you at the time, so I was like, "All right, then fuck that dude." And then that was it. And then I met you. I'm like, I like this dude. But you and Daniel had become friends again. But I was a casualty because the very Trumpian Daniel tried to turn me against you.
You'll appreciate this here, Paul. But the gist of it is, he really never has had any beef for real with you. He was just riding for the homie Daniel, who at the time told him he was having beef with you. So he was just, you know. That was the situation, but you'll hear it when on the playback.
It's all love.
It's all love, Moulz says. You know, it was never any actual.
It was never not love, really.
And I can vouch for that because in all the years I've talked to Moulz, he's never been like anti-Paul. So he was led astray by Daniel, and you know, because Moulz is a good friend. Daniel said we was riding out on this dude.
Last time I ever get involved in one of his.
Hey, man, you know, I can't condemn you for the things you learn. It's all right. We all good.
I love it.
Hey, man, but Jigga Man gotta go get the groceries. I'll be back.
All right, man. Thank you, Paul.
Well, thank you, Paul. And, you know, that was... it could have went a lot worse, I think. You know,
yeah,
so...
We did the thing.
So, listen. We'll be back after this break for the rest of the album. Right here.
That Mel spoiled in this very first song.
Hey, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all of the other episodes, check the link in the description, stop by raprankings.com, or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. And please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting to help us grow the channel and continue our journey as hip-hop's first and premier extreme podcast.